So as a youth, I was just learning this as a 22-year-old thing, and it's something that can just really rattle you to the core, you know, where it just change all your life priorities from pursuing a career, the type of thing you're supposed to be doing at 20-something-year-old, into actually realizing you need to prepare for this plan that they're going to roll out. And you know, it's pretty daunting. I mean, I had panic attacks at that age learning about this, because it's such a terrifying prospect. You know, and at the time we had Bush, we had Obama, there was no hope. We didn't have a Trump. We had nothing. There was no hope. It was a completely bleak, terribly hopeless situation. And it was a very scary time, because you had the Patriot Act. And they were passing laws that they could disappear people without due process and arrest you as a terrorist or as under the Patriot Act. There was no more, they would take away your rights. So back then it was such a terrifying thing. And you sounded crazy trying to talk about this, because back then nobody believed me when I tried to tell people and sound the alarm, hey, they want to create a fake pandemic, they want to force vaccines on people, Bill Gates wants to lower the population. No one believed me. No. Everyone thought I was totally nuts. No one believed me. No. Everyone thought I was totally nuts. I mean, and even when I first met my wife, like, she didn't believe me. She's like, wow, that's really out there. And I didn't push it on her, but you know, when it finally happened, a lot of people in my life that I told about this, when the scamdemic came around, 2020, when it happened, people were like, oh my God, this is what you were telling me about for 15 years. People were like, oh my God, this is what you were telling me about for 15 years. So it really finally happened. But something incredible happened, because, you know, we have a president like Trump who opposed mandates. He opposed war. He opposed the military-industrial complex. And the fact that somebody would oppose mandates was unthinkable. It doesn't matter whether you're Republican, Democrat, they both agree on the war. They might disagree on smaller surface issues, but they both agree on war. They both agree on mandatory vaccines. You have somebody like Trump coming in, opposing the wars, opposing military-industrial complex, exposing the fake news, which was unthinkable in itself. And people take that for granted, and it's become a meme. The fake news. But that's a really big deal, because the Mockingbird CIA media is their biggest arm of propaganda. It's a propaganda machine. And that is how they brainwash the masses, to follow an opinion. I mean, if you control all the news corporations, you control the opinion of the country.
I'm trained in media. I have worked with radio and television, newspapers, magazines, books, websites for decades. I'm from Europe. Back in Europe, that's what pointed my attention to Trump. I have never been interested in politics, because I knew it's all clowns. They're all criminals. They always lie as their first nature. There is no honest politician, that's what I thought. But as a media expert, I saw how all the mainstream news media all around the world, in Europe, and in America and Asia and Africa, they all were deployed simultaneously to incite an unprecedented, I mean, this has never happened in the history of this world, to make sure that everybody living on the earth would hate Trump. And I know from my background in media that they only attack their enemies, and they will always praise their servants. So when people say Trump is part of this blah blah, I'm like, use your brain, dear people. These guys have deployed everything they could to destroy him, to prevent him from becoming president in 2016. Trump has exposed, and I'm going to point at this hammer here, the hammer of Thor. He has used the hammer of the word of his mouth, the truth, to smash the #1 grip of these elites on all of mankind, which is the news media.
And I want you all to know that we are fighting the fake news. It's fake, phony, fake. A few days ago, I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are. They are the enemy of the people. Don't be rude.
Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you stay categorical?
You are fake news.
Sir.
And we're running against a very dishonest media.
The public doesn't believe you people anymore.
And it's frankly disgusting the way the press is able to write whatever they want to write. The fake news says I'm not campaigning very hard. I say they are stupid and corrupt,
You know, the press is really the biggest problem of all. The fake news, I call it, is the biggest problem of all.
Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And
Together, we will send Joe Biden and the fake news media. There's a lot of people back there. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
I don't know. What do you want? Do you want something while you're there?
French fries.
I'll tell you what. How about if we gave you some French fries? All right.
There you go.
Are you? That's sort of a bribe, but I think a bribe for a buck is okay, right? I'm going to get you some French fries. Somebody come up here and take them. Let's get them some French fries, okay? These for the fake news.
People don't want fake news.
So the fact that Trump was already waking up, people to the tyranny and the lies of the mainstream media is a really big deal, because back then, conservative, Christian, Republican people used to be the scariest people back then, because you had George Bush and the Patriot Act and Dick Cheney.
What is the Patriot Act?
The Patriot Act is when they used the events of 9/11, which they helped create with Israel, and that's a whole other story, but they used the Patriot Act to say, hey, to protect your freedoms, we need to take them away. So they took away your Fourth Amendment, they took away your privacy, they took away so many of your constitutional rights, where they can just arrest you without due process. The Patriot Act was one of the first big steps into removing the constitutional rights of Americans. Back then, conservative Christian Republicans were the scariest people, because these were the people that were being brainwashed to go along with the Patriot Act, to go along with removing your rights, and they were supporting the wars for George Bush. And then when you have Trump come along, he woke up the conservative Christian Republican base of our country.
Masks, no masks, everything, you can do all you want, but you still need help from the boss. We need help from the boss. That's what happened. We need help. Yeah, we need help. It's all right to say it. Now, they'll criticize me for that. How dare he say that? How dare he say that? No, I'll say it. I'll say it. I'll say it. Somebody said to me the other day, you're the most famous person in the world by far. I said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. He said, yes, you are. I said, no. He said, who's more famous? I said, Jesus Christ. I'm not taking any chances. I'm not going to have an argument. Hey, I'm not having any arguments. Jesus Christ. I'm not going to take any chances. I'll give it, I guarantee. And let me look up and I'll say, and it's not even close.
Wow.
And this is the majority of the country. So he woke up America. The majority of the country is conservative, Christian, Republican Americans. And he woke them up to the fake news media. Don't believe the news, they're lying to you. The wars are all based on lies. George Bush lied. These are all just the military-industrial complex. He started speaking out at the base root issues of everything. And it woke up the majority of the country. And then now you have conservative Christian Republicans now awake to the New World Order. It's become common knowledge. And that was just unthinkable back then.
Wow.
And it's incredible to see how 2020 has come along and it's woken up the entire public to what their real plans are.